when the husband marries, who does he pick? The other one feels like an asshole. And then the other one is like, well, I guess I'll just sit here and watch you bone my sister.
One gets... Sorry. This is... Here, I'll give you a pop quiz. Yeah. I don't know if we're always rolling.
We're not rolling. Are we rolling?
Quiz. Always rolling. Pop quiz. Who was the femme fatale in the remake with Jeff Bridges of King Kong? And it was in
Jessica Lange.
Yeah.
God damn! The only reason I like that.
Damn it, you're good.
The only reason I like because I love her so much. Oh my God! And then Naomi Watts was in King Kong. And then it's always just whoever's the hottest blonde. It'll be Margot Robbie now.
And Margot Robbie, yeah, she'll do like Bong will be Barbie and Kong.
No, when
we call Bong.
When she gives a monkey.
Maybe
BJ.
Garth will be in it.
Yeah, Garth never smoked weed.
Oh yeah, he's a virgin.
Well, he got pubes at 38, age 38, so he was a late developer.
No, let me tell you something.
Wayne,
in the new, go ahead.
I just got pubes.
What do I do with them?
I have Garth glasses, and I have a Garth. Yeah. What do I do with them? I counted them, and I named them. One's name's Lucy. One name is David Spade.
Did you tie yours in knots?
I said David Spade.
One's name is David Spade. A full name?
We could have had you in Wayne's World too, just as yourself, a cameo, and
you push it on your pubes with the microscope, and then you get to me.
You play a doctor. You could be in Stan Mikita's donut shop. You could have been a psychopath or something.
Another Canadian.
Some kind of weirdo.
No, you look at your pubes in the magnifying glass and you get really close, and one pube is me.
Help! That is like Incredible Shrinking Man.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, that's like Raquel Welch in, what was that called? When she shrunk down?
50-foot woman?
No, 1968, Raquel Welch. The Incredible Shrinking...
Incredible Shrinking Woman. That was Lily Tomlin.
Yeah, there was some other name for it, but they
Wasn't
all
it when they went
down.
in the boat?
They went inside the body,
Yeah.
inside a boat. Donald Pleasance gets killed. Anyway.
All right, listen, let me
We've
do Godzilla.
Lost half our audience.
And then we'll do Bethany.
Let's pull over and eat, honey. This is not
Is that
the
okay?
best start.
Okay, I'm going to start.
Okay. 2, 3, 2.
Welcome to Superfly. My guest is Dana Carvey.
Welcome to Take One.
We're back in the studio.
These albino shins are not going to make, because I saw the last one and the whole fucking podcast is that.
That's what you're showing?
I got so many letters. Yeah, I didn't know. So guess what? Look at it now while you can, because good night, Los Angeles.
Irene.
There
You know,
go.
when you're on a movie, they have dulling spray. They spray on stuff so it doesn't kick on camera.
Right.
We could have done
and
that.
it accidentally spilled on me.
Those are decent chords, though.
Well, I don't buy anything. I don't have anything. I'm a minimalist. I didn't realize it. I don't do anything or buy
I know,
anything.
you're Scrooge McDuck on a pile of money.
I'm well, wait a minute. Let me break down that.
Wait a minute. He's got all the money and he goes to the guy.
I was allergic to money.
Oh, that was Scrooge McDuck
Yeah,
sneezing?
he's over a pile of money.
Shit, you won't see that anywhere else.
All right. Oh, that's Act 1. What
No,
else?
I'm going to tell you about my weekend. The only highlight
Okay,
was
your new nickname is The Weekend.
I went to the Grove to see Godzilla versus King Kong.
I would do that if I could.
And, you know, you have to be kind of in the mood for that kind of movie. But I was ready for it. I went. I paid my $70, whatever it is, to go to a movie. I don't know.
Popcorn?
No.
Because I used to say to my brother, we go to a movie and then we go to the snack bar. And I said, what are you going to get? And he goes, everything.
Oh, that was the Garth brother.
Yeah, there's popcorn and then peanut M&Ms or something like that.
Yeah, pour in them.
So you're going in. Let's just set the scene. You're at the Grove
I'm
Stadium
fucking raw
seating.
dogging
You paid
it, nothing.
$70. You're there by yourself.
No, I had
You're
a friend
going-
with me.
You have a guy with you. Just
Yeah,
in case
there's
anybody
no
attacks.
females want to see fucking King Kong.
So now.
So I go in.
What happens next?
I sit through the 44 minutes of commercials.
I know.
You see it like, you know, there's Nicole Kidman. She gets applause now for that dumb AMC thing. And then they show commercials, then previews, and then another commercial. When I saw Top Gun, you're almost about to see it. And then Tom Cruise comes on. He goes, welcome to the movie and thanks for coming. I mean, we're already here. Go. We don't need you.
I know. I thought that was a bold move because, like, in a minute, he's going to be Captain McGuire or something.
Yeah.
But, hi, I'm Tom Cruise. In 30 seconds, you'll see me pretending. I'll look exactly like this, but suspend disbelief. Enjoy the movie.
Yeah, why one more commercial? You got us. We're in.
I go to a movie at 12:15 start.
Mhm.
The movie starts at 4:00.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's just say it what
I stayed at Cheesecake Factory a little longer because I knew that.
Cheesecake.
So I go in,
That's one of your
Godzilla
go-to
versus
references.
Kong. I
Okay.
naively thought, innocently, that Godzilla and Kong could be friends. Not a chance.
So that was your first mistake.
Yeah, I walk in, I go, maybe they're buddies. No, it's not a two-hander.
Did you see any of the trailers where they're chasing each other with fangs?
I know. I think it's just when you're a monster, you just like the challenge of other monsters.
Mhm.
It just
I
sort of
thought the
takes
Wicked
over.
Witch would be really friends with the midget in the Wizard of Oz. I thought
I
they'd
would
dance
too.
together.
I would
Yeah.
too at that age, but
We represent the lollipop. I
you
already
need a
did
bad
Donald
guy.
Duck.
This movie is two bad guys, Kong versus Kong.
Right,
Doesn't
okay.
make sense. So anyway, they come out. Godzilla, who has like a American eagle head, he's not that attractive because it doesn't match his monster body. No wonder he's single.
He's got a tiny skull.
tiny skull.
With huge shoulders.
Godzilla, the new Godzilla has a little head, big shoulders.
Oh, he's kind of fat.
He's kind of
he's Trump. He's
kettlebell.
got Trump's kind of pear-shaped body.
Mhm.
I'm I'm
Here
Godzilla.
you've got a
I
terrific
carry
talent.
weight down here. I'm kind of thin up here. The shoulders are kind of tiny. The bottom is huge and the legs are huge. No, but I heard Trump is really pear-shaped. I knew a guy went golfing with him once.
No, I think he is. I think that's
It's pretty
understandable.
obvious.
Yeah.
He's got quite a rump on me.
And he says, King Kong, everyone's saying bad things about him. He's a bit.
he's got a fat ass. Get out of here, Joe.
So here comes Kong and Godzilla, and they fight immediately. All my
Question.
hopes are dashed. Go ahead.
Did Dolly Parton write the soundtrack? Because it'd be like, here you come again.
Looking like
Looking
a
like a
monster
fat lizard 5 stories tall. So
that I had a fight with. Yeah, so Kong.
best non sequitur of Superfly. Take one.
Dolly.
Dolly.
So you sometimes
I'm
block,
not going to let you
block
finish
my
the
camera
story,
when
by
you
the
ask
way.
questions.
No.
So that's pretty much it.
Oh, you wrote a review.
Yeah, so the review is Dolly
Well,
Parton
did you
comes
enjoy
in.
it? I'm curious just as a fan.
Well, Godzilla gets jacked up by nuclear energy. So he has to run around all the nuclear plants and huff. That's how he gets.
And it comes super Godzilla.
Yeah, and he gets crazy. And I'm like, fucking, no one's whispering this to Kong because he's going to lose quickly, I can tell, because he's just a monkey. Who cares? And then there's a deaf girl in the movie that tries to help. She's from an Iwi tribe, and she can talk to Kong. So, like, when Kong gets stabbed, he falls on the ground, and the deaf girl's like this.
But she's not dumb and blind because I'm a big fan of
No,
The
she
Who.
can talk. She's just deaf.
Okay, she's not deaf and dumb and blind. That guy sure
Not
can
like,
play a mean pin.
Not like Tommy.
Okay.
So she does sign language to Kong, and then he goes like this. And then she goes, Kong's hurt. I go, well, no shit, Sherlock. He just got stabbed. I mean, we don't need the Long Island medium in for this one. We figured that part out.
I remind me after you finish your review. I'll do my Long Island medium.
Please.
Yeah.
I when I go in to get my haircut, I go, give me the Long Island medium.
Okay. I like it today because it looks unkept. It's like bedhead.
It is.
It's good,
it's
though.
accidentally looks
It
good.
doesn't look.
We're going to get comments and fucking, I don't care.
I love the comments.
So
I love the rage.
The radiation is good, but when he lifts his leg, you can tell his balls are smaller. It doesn't
Was
matter.
that a joke or you really see his testicles? It's a PG.
I look.
Okay. Because in
Dana.
most of the reviews I read, they said, disappointingly, no Kong testicles were available
No,
in the screening I
Godzilla
saw.
has small balls
Godzilla.
because he
Well, of
drinks
course, they've
radiation.
got so much fat, so much stuff, the testicles are fine.
They almost
But
disappear.
the bottom and the thighs are so big, it's an optical illusion. It makes it. Sorry, go ahead.
That's the end.
I'm
So at the end, Godzilla is a good guy, and then the whole town likes him. He's like throwing out a pitch.
But
at the
don't tell me
Yankees.
who wins.
Well, it's more like I won't even mention Mothra because
Mothra
there's
makes
a
an
few.
appearance.
I'm not even gonna. There are too many spoilers.
Fuck.
But I would say it's if you want to be confused, and you have 3.5 hours, go. Okay, so people, have you found any subscriptions you forgot about? I just said this 2 minutes ago. There was a streamer that hit me up. Hey, thanks for your moolah for last month. We just charged you. It didn't say, do you want to be charged again? There's a lot of these on your phone that just like wail on you and you don't even know it. You need someone to get in there and shake the tree a little bit. Rocket Money, it alerts you of an increase in subscription price. It could negotiate it for you if you want. It can cancel it for you. It's so time consuming. Nearly 75% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about. So,
yeah, this is a real problem. This product needed to be made, and Rocket Money did.
I thought I had about 10. I have about 6,000.
Oh, I won last night. We wanted to watch something, and it said free trial. Oh, free. But then you have to sign. It took 20 minutes to sign up. They got all the information, and the movie sucked. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, and it's such a headache to get on, but then they got you, and they don't even let you know.
And then just every month they just do your bam, bam, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
When you got financial, everyone's pretty tight in the financial crunch, and you don't want money going down the drain that you don't even care about at all. It's hard enough with the stuff you definitely need. You don't need a lot of this stuff. They come in. It's a personal finance app, finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, helps lower your bill, hence grows your savings.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to spend time combing over all these charges. That doesn't sound like so much fun.
They have over 5 million users, Dana. That's a lot.
Wow. It's
and
growing.
They've saved people a total of 500 million. That's crazy in canceled subscriptions. So
wow.
They save members up to $740 a year. When they're using all their apps features.
It all compounds. It all adds up. Yep.
Yeah. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/superfly.
That's rocketmoney.com/superfly. rocketmoney.com/superfly.
Sarah, it's Spade and Dana, and no one cares about your 50th anniversary dumb interview. I was so excited when I got the call for us. Call us and you'll be on camera.
And it'll be seen by at least 3,200 people.
Right. We get a lot of YouTube comments, which mean nothing.
Yeah.
So
we're officially 1/1000th of Joe Rogan's audience.
Yeah. We have a lot of people that watch our show that also watch Joe Rogan, if that means anything.
And his brother, Biff Rogan.
Get that mulligan.
Who works at a
Get
Target.
that mullet. This is going nowhere. This is going to be this voicemail is going to be cut after.
Don't make me sneeze again as Donald Duck.
No, that was so good.
I will do it if we need it.
That was so good.
I hadn't done that in a while. I actually was sneezing.
Shit. Okay.
What's going on? Oh, Long Island Medium. Yeah, what is she? She's like, what was it?
Teresa.
Oh, she never says the loved ones, or are they in heaven? What is it? What's he saying to you? He said he liked his socks. He liked the yellow socks.
He did.
He's in the afterlife and he's communicating with us. Yeah, he said he liked the yellow socks that he had in the drawer. But he didn't say anything about meeting God. No, he just really liked those socks.
That's what he's wasting his time with in heaven.
It goes from there. More
I like it.
Little things,
Yeah, and then they're like, "Why is he talking about that?
Why is he talking about that?" He liked it when he liked the warm blanket you had. Oh, he didn't have a special warm blanket. Well, couldn't you have got him a blanket? He died of pneumonia. Couldn't you have gotten a blanket? And so then she turns on.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, and then she flips it on him.
I don't know.
These are tight as fucking shit, aren't they? Oh, fuck.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. So, how are you? Nice to meet you, Bethany.
Nice to meet you too. This is so exciting.
That's Dana.
Yeah, we have a little counter. There's 36 people watching us right now.
No, there's not.
That's a lot. It's the most you've ever had.
No, this is just we tape it because we have a video one now, so we can see you, which is way better.
Right, and it would make you insecure if it was only 36 people because you are comedians.
Yeah, that's a big crowd for me, though.
Are you hydrating with a sort of a energy drink?
I have I'm a thirsty bitch. Like I'm a very dehydrated person by nature. So I always have like multiple beverages.
Do you mind if I use that for a song title? Thirsty bitch? I mean, I'm just saying.
I do not. I do not mind.
All right.
I'm a thirsty dude.
Listen, the fun's over. We have to find out about the crime. So
The crime.
the crime at hand, Dana, there's a story going on. I always fill Dana in. But there's not one guy, probably random guys running around, I think they're guys, New York, and punching girls in the face. Is that close so far, Bethany?
Yes. It was funny because when I was thinking about that we were going to talk today, I was thinking about the fact that you guys aren't originally from New York, but lived in New York when you were doing SNL, and what that perspective was, like what your vision of crime was then. I was thinking of pre-Giuliani and the 70s. And then I was thinking of how I think of it now, how like some guy wrote an article during the pandemic about crime. Seinfeld pushed back on it. It's been a discussion, and there's been like a defensiveness about it.
Yeah.
Because New Yorkers want to gaslight and pretend it's not actually happening and close their eyes and pretend they're not seeing it. So that's why I think that's an interesting discussion.
When we had crime, it was crime, but it was like big crime. Like there's a bank robber and then they'd catch him, they'd go to jail. There's no real crime and punishment anymore. It seems it's watered down a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's crime and there's not as much punishment, and that makes more crime in my rough math in my head. So when things happen like this, they sort of go unnoticed and swept under the rug.
Well, to insert this for a second, once you get used to it, like in the 80s, it was pretty rough. I lived there in 81 as well. But then I came back and like after Giuliani, I don't know what he did, but my wife and I are walking around New York and we're not looking over our shoulder. And he said, well, what happened? And then Times Square became like Disneyland. So then the juxtaposition was like, this was possible? Like, what happened?
Right.
So.
Right. Well, the Giuliani was the not fucking around crew. And so that's very interesting, especially when you're dealing with a jungle like New York. And it was left kind of unguarded during the pandemic, and the inmates are running the asylum. And so from a superficial standpoint, if you go into CVS, mascara and eyelashes are locked up, like shampoo, like it's so bad for business to begin with, because you can't go in there and just pick something up and go pay for it. You have to like call 4 people and a supervisor to get a mascara. I mean, so that's because anybody could steal anything they want.
And a problem, Bethany, just so I can interrupt you for sure, at least once, is that when these stores, when you see that happening, they're sort of counting on a good-natured, normal person with morals saying, oh, I'll pay. These people just carry stuff out. At some point, someone's going to go, why am I paying? Like, it's just as easy to walk straight out. Like, I feel like hardworking people are getting the shaft.
By the way, it's 100%. It goes through your mind. Like, well, it's harder to pay than to not pay.
Right. And
it's
people
harder to pay. Yeah.
And
well, what was your blink? I mean, you were considering getting a place there, but you changed your mind. I mean, was it worse than you thought? I mean, you obviously got slapped or hit in the face. We'll get to that in a second. But does it feel worse than
ever?
Well, it feels really bad. And David said it well, in the sense that not everything is like the most gigantic thing. I mean, the numbers don't lie, but like I wouldn't have my daughter, who's turning 14, on the subway by herself, which some of her friends do. That's sort of been something she mentioned flippantly. And I was like, absolutely not.
What a daredevil.
Or her walking around. Sorry?
That's like a daredevil move to go on the subway alone now.
I think what you're going to say is there's 2 lanes of this. There's the actual crime, and then there's the threat of the crime. So, I was in a CVS in West Hollywood. All of a sudden, they're screaming on the other side of the store. So your day is, you're tense, you're worried. So the psychology of New York, I had a friend move, and he just said, everyone is angry. And he loved New York.
So I have one daughter, and it's unfortunate that like I'm putting the fear of death in her. And I don't even think she wants to listen anymore, because every time I see something that actually has happened in New York, like the punching of the face or the other thing, and like you said, we'll get into it, I'm constantly like almost badgering her, because I'm so helpless that when she's with her dad, she's in New York, and she's sometimes like, oh, we just were here. Or I have something on my phone that says where she was. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? How'd you get there? How did you get home? Like, I am now a helicopter parent about this thing, because you're right. When I'm in a drugstore, my shoulders are up. Like any human that's near me, I feel like they're going to do something to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
In the city.
Yeah. And so you were one of the ones, I think, before this turned into, let's call it a TikTok trend, unfortunately. But that's what when it's on TikTok, that's what they call things. But so you got hit. Females, for some reason,
Okay.
are getting hit.
Just tell us that.
Yeah, tell us the story real quick.
So yeah, I ultimately did get a place later than this, which is another conversation, but in a different area, because I wanted to be safe and I had reasons because of work, because I didn't want to be like constantly in a hotel room with a garment bag like a hooker that I am. But so separately, I was on this.
And a thirsty
I am a
bitch.
hooker
I'm just
anyway.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a thirsty bitch. So I was in New York City. I think it was like 72nd and West End, which sounds like kind of fancy to me, like
Yeah.
West End. I don't know. It was a new area that I was going to look at, and the building was pre-war super fancy. And I was ironically excited because I like doings around where I'm going to look, like, oh, is there a shoe repair or a nail place? And so there was this little deli and then a little bakery kind of right next to each other. And I walked in, and it was this tiny place that had all these different kinds of desserts that I was interested in. And I took my phone out to take a picture of them, and I turned around, and a guy, just as I was walking out the door, just whacked me in the face. And I have a driver who is, he's an Albanian tough guy. He's a security guy, but he wasn't in the store with me. He was outside by the car. And when I walked out, I made eye contact with him, like something went down with this guy. And he came over and they had words, and the guy was homeless and he seemed unwell. I mean, he just seemed unhinged and unwell. And I said, it just wasn't a situation where I felt like calling the police, because it felt like this guy was troubled enough on his own. I mean, he's going to be there for a night and more anxiety, and they're going to let him out. I just thought.
And then he might have a vendetta against you because you threw him in.
You just pay a big price when you go through life on guard, intense, even if you're not directly affected. And when you go to other places outside of the city, like in the country somewhere, and then you go, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be worried at a pharmacy or just walking down in front of my house. So it's sad to hear this, and I hope that they fix it.
And it's interesting because this is sort of, it might sound mean, but when they say, oh, someone was mentally ill, or they attack someone and then they have a problem with the police, but they say, oh, but they always claim, oh, but he's mentally ill, so let him go. It's like, well, listen, that doesn't mean you're not going to hit someone with a brick. That's the people you want sort of pulled in somewhere to get looked at.
Someone has a mental illness that encourages violence inside their brain. That's a whole other topic.
Every serial killer is mentally ill. Obviously, they're not supposed to kill people. So that's not the best excuse to say we should leave them alone and let them roam around. It's
not, but there's a version of compassion. And then there's a version of intellectual understanding that the pandemic drove a lot of us who were sitting home and who are not broke crazy. And so you're thinking about the desperate. It's the thing is, there's a feeling of desperation, and you can, like, it's palpable when you're near somebody on the street. Like, there's a good chance if you see somebody kind of close to you, they're going to just start screaming or go off. And there's the mental illness thing, and you're seeing it in other cities too. I saw it when I was in LA. San Francisco's a wild town now. So it is this post-pandemic thing. And then instead of like being the not fucking around crew, like the Giuliani situation, it's sort of just like letting, if you let all your kids in the classroom just do whatever they want, it's not going to be a great situation.
That's what's going on. Yeah, that's exactly.
So was that the first time you met John Lovitz, when you got slapped?
Was when he punched you?
That's so fun. No, I did meet John Lovitz years ago with Shannon, my friend Shannon, and he was early. He was an early adapter, smacking people.
A good friend of ours, and we always use him as a
Are you jealous of my right hook?
I heard what you said to Bethany. Are you saying I'm homeless?
No,
and I punched her.
I agree. We try to make light of this, but it is such a complicated,
it's a traumatizing
situation.
thing. You're just sucker punch or
and you remember it forever. That really scares you.
And you paint a good. Well, I kind of feel like I feel what New York is like right now, and I don't want it to be that way. I'm so fond of New York and love New York. I don't want it to be angry and stressed.
But we're talking about specifics, and the thing is, it is a whole macro situation, because if I go there and then I text the realtor, screw this, I don't want to live here, this place is nuts, because I identify the entire place with that experience. Plus I go to a normal drugstore and things are in cages, then it's going to affect the real estate market and the economy. And then it's really going to be a circular reference of New York doom.
I think that's what's happening. Yeah.
And Jerry Seinfeld, I hate to say, because I love him and I know you guys love him, but he was wrong when he responded to that guy's open letter. The guy, I think was named Steven, and he wrote an open letter about New York in the beginning of the pandemic. And Jerry got really annoyed and he wrote an open letter. And it's kind of not been great.
I think it's gotten exponentially worse even since then.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think I agree. He loves New York, and I do too. We stayed there for our whole run of SNL.
Oh yeah.
All right, we'll let you go, but that's very nice
Anyway,
of you to jump
Thanks,
on with us.
thanks, Bethany. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. I like funny. You got funny guys having good, important conversations. I'm impressed.
I'd love to have more of them.
Weird combo, but it's so
I'm sick of the funny part. I'm kind of burnt out. What am I going to do?
You might not be funny anymore. Yeah, you're serious now.
Hey, Dana, are you going to New York? Not gonna do it.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye, David.
Can we call her Collect next time? We'll bill her for that call.
She's such a. I love talking to her. She's such a wealth of knowledge. She spits it all out.
Well,
Great
it's just
words.
fun when you're not trying to be politically incorrect, and we're still in the mode of like, you know.
We have another subject about, one was the TikTok. There's an article in your New York Times. It says, TikTok, people quit filming yourself getting punched and talking about it because it starts a trend. So it's another thing where they blame the people instead of the crime. Show a picture of one of the people that got hit, one of the girls that got hit if we have one, because they actually get nailed. Look at this. Well, that's a little baby one. See in that left corner, but it is a goose egg. If you can see it. And then there was a blonde. Look at that. That's a full egg on her forehead.
This is like Brian, shut up, Brian. It's a whole trend. We got to go to punch a woman because I saw it on TikTok.
I don't know if it's cooler to punch or get punched.
We'll
look at TikTok. We'll figure it out.
Well, one's the aggressor, one's the victim, I think. You know?
No. Yeah, I'm kidding.
But it is just kind of funny. A guy who's never hit a woman in his life, but it's on TikTok.
I know. They
start punching.
They start jizzing over
It's
that.
really just, I don't know. Did you ever see Clockwork Orange?
That's a weird one.
It's about society just collapsing under this and the criminals take over.
That's sort of what's going on quietly.
It's Escape from New York, and you're
Kurt Russell?
Snake Plissken. I was going for the actual
Snake
name.
Plissken.
Yeah, Plissken. You're Snake Plissken.
Fuck yeah.
You're our only hope of a troubled
Oh my God,
nation.
I hope it doesn't come to that.
They're slapping people, they're punching people on my watch. You're not
but look at this one. This is a good story. So a guy was at Subway. Do you have that one, Greg? Guy's at Subway waiting in line, and the guy in front of him, of course, starts hassling the employee, spits on her, punches her twice.
Oh.
And the guy behind is a wrestler, and he just takes him down right away. I love it. No one gets involved anymore.
After she gets punched, though.
I know, he let her punch twice. He says, 1, I'll give you the trend. 2, you're going down. So he tackled him, and he goes, I didn't want to beat him up too bad. I love this dude. And he goes, but I held him and said, you're not going anywhere until the cops come. You can stop fighting. I'm a pro wrestler. And the guy's like, oh, love it. I love those stories. Death Wish, Charles Bronson. Come on.
Well, because we were
Fight back.
We were bullied.
Of course.
Right? I mean, if I was,
Gabrielle
we
Pizzulo. Stud. That's who did it. Stud.
Let's make this entire episode about this.
No, we're moving on.
Random violence.
No, we're going to lighter fare. What's the next one? Golden Bachelor. What do we got?
Let's lighten up the people.
Oh no, this is fun. This is fun. This is good news. The conjoined twins, Abby and whoever.
We went from violence.
They got married. Well, we're back to lighter fare. This is a feel-good story.
I love them.
I actually like the taller one.
When they took math, they really put their heads together.
I know. There's too many.
There are too many.
I have too many good jokes.
I didn't even think I had a joke. But
they said they have 3 vaginas. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
3.
You think they'd have 1 or 2?
Well, once nature gets a little distortive, it'll start just playing with the recipe.
It's churning out.
Oh yeah,
waist down. They share everything. Only one set of everything. Waist down.
So if they have diarrhea,
that's first question.
I don't want to think.
Just
about
one set of the poops only.
So
I hear that it's so bonding that sometimes, even though they can get separated, they decide to stay together. That's what I heard. I don't know.
Oh, you mean if they could?
Well, they're so connected, like
literally and
figuratively.
No, that's people
a pun right now.
that are joined at the head.
At the head, but
and they have 2 bodies.
Separate.
Yeah, that I could imagine. they're used to it.
Okay.
But these two are joined to the body, and they couldn't do anything to them.
Okay.
But when the husband marries, who does he pick? The other one feels like an asshole. He's like, well, it's like The Bachelor. Who gets the final rose? Gives it, because they're twins, gives it to one, the tall one, probably. And then the other one is like, well, I guess I'll just sit here and watch you bone my sister.
One gets, sorry, just cancel me now. So one is got a husband and they're making out and having sex.
Yeah.
And the other one is just there for the party.
And he's like, you can bring your ugly sister. She's like, well, we're twins. That's a little rude.
For some guys, that's a turn on. Some guys, it's a non-starter. For Trump, it happened to him.
It happened to Trump again?
They were two together. One I love beautiful, but the heads were together. I wasn't going to go there. So
I think that's enough on those guys. We got good stuff.
Where's our feel good?
That's a feel good.
This is the darkest.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to do fun stories
we've ever done.
Golden Bachelor.
Broken love and love. Yeah.
No, The Bachelor.
Okay, read it because people are driving.
Golden Bachelor and his wife still living separately 3 months after their dream TV wedding.
Right.
I hope this doesn't hint that reality shows are a scam. I do not want to hear this bullshit.
Yeah, it's just like the Easter Bunny's not real or Santa Claus didn't come down the chimney. I mean, this is right up there with me. I'm fully traumatized. But what I thought was maybe they're doing a couples thing, like separate bedrooms. Oh yeah, we like each other better. Now, why don't you take the house down the street? Now we'll relive a good relationship. I think that's happening way more than you know.
Yeah.
But they're states away.
That's really love.
But their phone sex bill is massive.
He goes, I'm too tired to even have phone sex.
No, she's like, come on. She calls him by his age. Come on, 73. What are you going to do, 73? Come on, you do it. You like
he's
it?
A basketball
you like it like
player.
that, 73? Huh? And he's like, yes, 68.
Here's your Viagra smoothie from Erewhon.
Why is sex talk always angry? What are you going to do?
You like that shit?
Huh? You like it? Why is it so mad?
When you say it to girls, they go, is that a rhetorical question? You like that shit? So I do or I don't know. Huh?
Well, look, I think they're adorable. And I think through a surrogate, they should make a human being and raise it and call the human being David Spade.
That's good. I'm in 2 different bits now.
Well, as long as I get a laugh in the room, you can use my name too, but you're famous. You're
it's a funny name.
David Spade is funny.
It's funnier to use me. But last thing I was going to say, who was hornier out of those two on the Golden Bachelor? I think the female was. Okay, now this is Squattaburger, Danny.
This is me trying to read.
This is a squat, the squatter situation.
The squatters, which I thought was kind of a joke, but it's a real.
Yeah,
real
you stay in someone's house more than 15 minutes, you own it. I think that's the
my
rule.
shins are coming out to play. Stay down.
Get those glare sticks away from me.
Fucking shins. Well, I told you, Theo Vaughn, I came in with short black sleeve. You come on in here with all those wide arms.
With all your wide arms.
With all those wide arms. And he was right. I looked at the monitor.
I like how he's like a squid.
Like squiddy white, super white, and black T-shirts. So then I bought this, and all I wear.
No, those are cool.
Is it?
Is that James Purse?
No, the Gap, $13.
Don't act like it's a lot.
You are. We're going to talk about your budget.
I just take a money gun into James Purse. Nothing today.
That's a new Money Gun.
You ever seen Money Guns?
No, I like the new effect.
Rappers have it. They stack hundreds in it, walk in a strip club and go.
Oh, yeah, and then it just flies.
Okay, so this is...
what are you seeing?
So the funny part, not that everyone's squatting. And
should I face David more? Okay.
I think when you use your hand, it blocks that camera. And mine probably blocks yours.
Oh, I'm blocking his.
Is that what I'm doing?
Is that what you're doing?
No, this camera's just overheating a little bit.
This one.
Overheating. Okay, because I'm overheating. I'm glad the camera's overheating.
Because your hotness.
Too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know what they named today? I was looking down SNL stuff. The best single cast. So they said, like for me, they said 80, 87, 88. But for 91, 92, they call it the best year of a single cast in the history of SNL.
Oh, for real? Was I on that?
Yes. And they said, Dana Florfeld, myself, and had left, and Chris Rock. and they didn't mention Mike Myers. It was you, Farley, Sandler. It was a great cast, but I was there in 91 and 92.
It should have been the overlap with you, Mike, and then all of us.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought that was the best, most potent year, that 92, 3. But your guys was great too. It was like when you took over, it was more like 94, 5 or 3 later, 3, 4, 5.
More of a 2, 3, 4 was really big.
So I thought you guys were the funniest, honestly. When I came back to guest host, and I was in a room with you, Farley, and Sandler, I said, "These guys are funnier than we were."
Nice.
We were good sketch players. It was different.
That's nice of you to say.
It's hard to see yourself the way everybody does. You guys had those were the years.
I know.
You
it's
guys
like a
were
little engine that could, but there was a couple of years there that you guys were kicking ass on that.
It
show.
does also take time to look back and appreciate. So the new cast now, I think later will look back and say, "Oh my God, those guys are so great." But at the time, it's never like your time right then. They never.
Well, I don't want it to end.
They didn't fawn over you. They didn't fawn over us. They waited till later, and then when we were there, they said, "You guys are great," and then we left.
Well, you always, whoever does it before you. I saw Martin Short in '78 on SCTV, and I was like, and Steve Martin live at the boarding house. And I was like, they're doing what I want to do, and I was nowhere. So of course, then you see him later on, and you're still a little bit in awe of them.
Not to overtalk her, but it's just so random that Bethany was an intern for SNL, and she had a catering company on the side, catered a Joe Dirt premiere party, and her business took off after that.
Fun fact.
But it's just funny the overlap you guys have had your whole life. It's kind of weird.
Okay, quickly, the last story about squatting is the funny part. They call it squatter burger because the people, these people get in your home and then they don't, and there shouldn't even be any squatters' rights laws at all. Why is it someone steals your house, they can have it?
It's called stealing.
Yeah, it's stealing. So these people said, no, we live there. And they go, we need proof that you live there. So they sent a Shake Shack receipt where they got an Uber Eats delivery and it had their address on it. That was one of their pieces of evidence. And it's like,
what?
It could be you just stand in front of their house and order. It's so stupid. The judge is like, okay, it all makes sense now. So I don't know. So anyway, that was Squatter Burger. Funny title though.
I looked it up because I saw it on the preview of the episode and I couldn't find it.
Oh,
but yeah, Squatter Burger is a funny title.
Well, that brings me to this one because that falls into there's no way that's real. So this one I saw and I go, there's no way. Okay, it says Michigan's giving illegal migrants $6,000 each if you move there. You have to have one condition: you have to be an illegal immigrant. The office,
wow, that's
stated
funny.
that they're renting. They give you $6,000 towards rental of apartments, so you'll move there. This might be a fake story.
A side story, because I was looking this up, is that they're giving people who have a home and an extra bedroom, they'll give them $500 a month to house a illegal immigrant.
Oh, in the extra bedroom?
Yes.
In London, if you're old and they deem that your house is too big for you, they'll make you sell it to them so they can house more people in it.
Yeah, I get it.
I love when people tell me this house is too big for me. I don't want them to steal that and start shoving people in here.
Well, what's the next
I
step?
didn't want
It's
my
too
friends in
fancy
here.
for you. They paint it really dull. It's just too fancy.
No, you shouldn't wear cords. They're too young for you. We're going to take them away.
Keep that chin down. I want more government telling me what to do. I just like it.
No, I like to be told.
I like to know what to wear.
I'm looking at the California squatters' rights.
What do they say?
They actually have to pay taxes.
Oh, squatters?
They have to, in order to take over permanently, you have to live there openly for 5 years, but you're required to pay taxes while you're there as a squatter. I'm surprised.
But they can't kick you out right away.
They can. You just have to go through a whole procedure of filing like an eviction notice, and it says that you can, but and that they don't necessarily have rights, but there's things to protect them if they do follow. They have to follow certain rules.
Why does
to
a
be
squatter?
protected.
Why it's like saying bank robber rights. If you're breaking the law, why do you have so many rights over a person that owns a house? Wouldn't that grind your onion if you bought a place? Like I just got that little fucking shit shack down south. If someone was there, I'd be like, how do I get someone out? And they go, no, I own it now. I've stayed here for 4 days. Like, get fucked. I turn the water on in my name. I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. And they do it. And now they own it. And I got to go through hire a lawyer.
Yeah, it's the downstream consequences. There is no solution. There's only trade-offs. I would try to get into this country, apparently, from where everyone else is trying to get in.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
But when you came to Ellis Island, because I was there doing a benefit.
Do you have a place there?
No.
Oh, you did a benefit there? Did you for real?
Yeah. And it's pretty profound. You walk around Ellis Island and you see what the immigrants coming off and what the rules were. One of them was you will not become a ward of the state. Like and if you couldn't answer no to that, they put you back.
What
on
does
the
that
boat.
mean, a ward of the state?
Government dole, government money.
Oh, you couldn't be a burden.
Yeah, couldn't be a burden. Maybe that's the way they said it.
I think they crossed that part out.
It was 1906. Now I'm telling you,
what's a fun
you can come
story?
in this here country, but you better not be a burden to society. Because that's where we draw the line. We welcome all immigrants unless they become burden to society. Hello, I'm David Spade.
Oh, I thought that was Little Meech. Little Meech is a rapper apparently.
Okay.
And he's got a broken finger. I didn't know that.
That's Dr. Evil's son. I mean, it strikes again.
Little Meech. I thought it was funny. He said between Nickelodeon, Diddy, and that bridge, I don't trust shit these days. Yeah, it's funny. Remember?
Is that the slang? I don't.
Yeah.
I
just sort of figured it out. Yeah.
Between Nickelodeon, Diddy, and that bridge, I don't trust shit.
Now, what is your thoughts on the bridge? Quickly, was it I still think it's fishy, even though it's water.
Well, what's the rumor of Diddy and the bridge? I don't keep up.
No, Diddy.
I know we got arrested.
He's saying between these three things that happened lately, there's some sketchy shit.
Oh, and the bridge was the bridge. Okay.
The bridge was the one where the boat went like this.
I thought it was
Oh
Diddy.
my God, look at this. Here's the big thing. Oh my God, we have no control. Bam. That's what I thought was fishy. I'm like, you don't do a button hook. What are you running pattern?
It looked like it just drifted in. It didn't
Did
take
it
a
though?
right angle.
I didn't see a turn.
I did. I'm just starting trouble.
Oh, come on. I took the train across the bridge. The friend's a friend. I took a train many times. A choo-choo train across the bridge. There was never a train on the bridge. Holy fuck.
I'm reading the wrong
What the
cards. All right, next one.
Biden not working.
I just thought that was funny.
Heather looks sad.
We're going too long, aren't we? What is this? Oh, this is a fun one. I had nothing on this other than robots giving hand jobs. No, a hand job from a robot is the worst. Because they're masseuses now. I forgot to say that part.
Oh,
you can get a massage from a robot.
And then the joke was,
which jumps to, yeah. I wonder if there's going to be massage robot porn because there's regular massage porn. They cut a hole in the bottom. I'll tell you later.
I had a masseuse. I probably said this on this podcast.
What do they say to you?
Give it. She put her elbow into me and said, "Give it,
I
give
love
it."
This.
So if they had a robot that would say that, give it to me, give it, or I will punish you. So
mine goes like this.
She said, "Give it."
You like that shit?
Give it. You like that shit?
I'm in the hole like this going. Do I like what? You like that shit?
I put a fish tank down there and I put a scuba gear thing so I can watch the fish.
What an idiot.
It's an article. It's an article. I can't. I went to state school. God damn.
All right, let me make sure there's no Sarah Sherman. Okay, let's talk about that story then. Is it over? Let's talk about the story. We've gone too long. I'm going to tell a story about the SNL story. We'll get Sarah to call next week.
These are all evergreen, by the way.
These are fun. SNL is probably this week, though.
Fee, fi, fo, real.
We're going to end on this.
We could have a 2-show deal.
We do.
Yeah, 2 times 30.
So this woman says this.
Yes. Okay. This
let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Person who's ever been to SNL has never hired a hot woman. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying that every single woman who has been a cast member of SNL is ugly. It's just that none of them have ever been hot. They all just kind of have looks that eventually grow on you. This has been on my mind for a while, but I feel like what really settled it in for me was when they hired this girl. I'm sorry, I don't know what her name is. But and then they make every skit that she's in, at least one skit per episode that she's in, being where she plays someone so super hot and super dumb, and the point of the joke is that she's super pretty. And it always makes me laugh because no offense to her, but she's not that pretty.
She
makes money out.
But if you get defensive, it's kind of almost
she's technically
giving it a thumbs
up. Well, it's hard.
It's absurd.
Here, you can stop it. It's hard for Heidi Gardner to come out and say, "No, I'm pretty." That's for other people to say. We'll say it. She's very pretty. So is Chloe.
Absolutely.
So is I think Sarah Sherman's super cute. And
well, let me just tell you from my perch in life where I'm at, every woman is pretty. Every single woman. Because
that's a real strong take. That's a real.
They are. Most women, when they look back, or we look back at a picture of ourselves, let's just take women for a second. They look back, like my wife says, I should have just been in a bathing suit the whole time.
Yeah, they realize
why
women are very harsh themselves, and we are harsh on women. Yeah. And then they don't.
You're hard on me, and I'm hard on you.
Excuse me.
Why is everything a sexual innuendo?
It wasn't. Now it is
psychologically.
No, we're always hard on ourselves, and if we don't, YouTube comments will pick up the slack.
But let me ask you a question though. So there's the aesthetic of a potential woman for David Spludler.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find my camera.
Can't find your camera. Find your camera. So define hotness, because there's the aesthetic of someone who would be called a 10, or like has like a perfect.
This woman, I think, is saying physically, not to mention they're super talented,
personality,
not to mention they're super cute. Sarah Sherman has a great voice. Like all these things add up to what makes someone, male or female, attractive. And so if you're just saying, should they all look like a Victoria's Secret model? I don't know. I mean, I just think it's a weird one. And Sarah Sherman said the best answer,
which was,
she said, I'm sorry, when I just found out today I'm not hot. I'd like privacy. I'd like to ask for privacy to deal with my family. Oh, God. No, better word. If I could grieve uglily. Well, privately and uglily.
Let me just say this now. So she should do one on the men, even though she did say Jimmy Fallon was the definition of a hot man.
He's cute, yeah.
Yeah. But what the fuck are we over here? Fucking rice-a-roni?
No, listen.
Jesus Christ, throw us a little bone. What are we? No,
listen, the highest ranking I got was a 6. So I get it. But a lot of comic dudes are known for being not that good looking. That's part of the everyman part of comedy.
Well, let's just say if Carol Burnett looked like Raquel Welch. She looked like Raquel Welch, if you know the reference.
Yeah.
Carol Burnett looks like Raquel Welch, but she's doing the same sketch show.
Google can't even find Raquel Welch.
I think the best lane for a comedian is to be kind of cute and likable.
Yeah.
Like every single woman that we're talking about is adorable.
Yeah.
And I can't separate the personality. When I see a woman who's funny and super talented, the attraction level will go way up because smart is, I mean, you probably don't know about this. Let me just set the table for you. Intelligence is sort of a turn on for people. You ever heard that?
No, because I'm not smart enough to even understand that.
That women would like you because you're
high
IQ.
Listen.
You're not a dumb.
You're
not a dummy.
If anyone likes me, it always starts with, I never like good looking guys. I always like guys like you. I'm always like, I'm so sick of like the Brad Pitts and the Johnny Depps. I go, all right, you don't need to articulate like that. I get what
people
you're saying.
Say to me, I never like anyone who looks like David Spade. And that's my wife, ladies and gentlemen, over here. I tell it like it is. I
go, I have no idea why, but I think you're so hot.
That's they say on Instagram.
It's like a mystery.
They go, you're actually kind of hot. You're actually kind of hot. You don't need to fucking pad it with that shit. Just say, she goes, my friends and I can't believe you're my celebrity.
So it's like a news flash. Like, I swear to God, I'm not lying right now.
Yeah.
But I'm actually attracted to you physically. Isn't that fucking
this isn't
crazy?
This isn't a joke.
This is not an album. I'm not doing a Netflix special about being attracted to David Spade. But I'm telling you.
God damn, it's horrifying.
I can't help it.
Thank you for watching. We did long. We did an hour, didn't we? God damn. Why do these people get so much for their free money?
Fee, fi, fo mode. I smell a second episode.
This is a 2-parter.
As long as I go fee, whatever, and complete it, I'm happy.
Come on the hall. I'm going to show you a 2-farter. We're going to end with Scrooge. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Send us your advice, questions. This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Superfly is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade. Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, Heather Santoro, and Greg Holtzman. Hope you liked it. Mm-hmm. You know, Dana, I rarely say this, but hear me now and believe me later. Why didn't we say that to Arnold? That's one of the funniest ones.
I know. Well, he loves it. That was fun. We get to really talk about Hans and Franz with Arnold. And it is funny and fun to do an Austrian accent to Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could flick you with your little finger and you fly across the room and land in your own baby poop.
He made me laugh. He was such a warm, fun guy, likes comedy. He knew a lot of our stuff. He also recited a lot of his catchphrases. Wasn't that fun to hear him do it?
Yes, we talked about Girly Man and how people said when he was governor of California, he would call people girly men, and we talk all about that. And he loved the sketch. He's such a great sport. He's a great storyteller. He really, I heard a lot of stories I'd never heard before about how he got his start in Hollywood. And
he's got a book out with a lot of great, very interesting stories.
Yeah, be useful and
very positive thinking.
Positive thinker, hard worker. And the way he articulates, it's not his accent or anything anymore. It's just he makes things very clean and very simple. You have to get up every morning and, be the hero of your life. You do things that are uncomfortable. You go toward the pain. And that's where all the good stuff is. With pain, you get stronger. And he is hypnotic, really, to listen to.
Mm-hmm. The person who makes his bed is 78% more successful in life. I'm like, true. He's like, I just made that up. It sounds good, though.
First, you get up, you put water on the face to wake up the brain. And then
splash.
Then you put toothpaste on the toothbrush. And
on
you
the toothpaste
to rub it against the teeth to get the freshness. And then you do 100 sit-ups.
I go circular on my teeth. That's just me. But yeah, he was so fun. And then he did, the catchphrases are funny. And also he liked that we were both not out of shape. Remember that?
He asked us, and we're not making the, how do you fellas stay so lean? So he's asking us. Lean. I go, what? We're actually kind of tiny. But then at that point I thought, well, I'm going to do 10 push-ups for Arnold and have him comment on it. So you'll have to stay tuned to see what happens.
The end. You got to hang in there. Wait for it.
Wait for it. Don't pull off and finish it because you're
even though when in a normal Instagram when it says wait for it, I say go die. I'm not waiting for anything. Don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Because it's like 8 seconds or 4 seconds. Wait for I'm here. Wait. What am I waiting for? I'm watching it. All right. Well, here's, before I go on that tangent, here's Arnold we had a blast with. And go buy his book. It's a good book.
And we did it live at his incredible office building complex. Arnold has just walked into the building.
He goes, you know me.
I see.
What
already?
Not only lions get out of their cages.
A long time ago. Don't say anything if you don't have anything positive to
say. So it'll be kind of quiet.
What is this? Hey, he's got wires all over. Let me do your trick. It's a little tiny.
How long have you guys been doing this?
This
18 months.
18 months.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And how did you end up together?
I met him before SNL, believe it or not, in the 80s at the clubs and stuff.
80s? Jesus.
Well, whatever. And then I moved back down to LA and we started hanging out. And then I had a little podcast I was doing. He came on. Then our manager said, you got to do this. So
yeah,
that was it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great idea because I think it creates more energy if you have two people
it does.
Kind of back and forth type of thing.
Makes it a lot
It's
easier.
a lot better, yeah. It makes it go quicker, and he's pretty smart. And we both know a lot of the same people. This guy is. And
it happens. Sorry, Arnold. You're smart too.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you.
I mean, it's really... I think this is the first one that we are doing with comedians.
That's a fun one.
Am I right?
Yeah.
First podcast, yeah. Because, I mean, you guys made me laugh.
Let me tell you.
More often than anything. I mean, when
Conan's a comedian.
You know, Conan.
Not as funny as we are.
Yeah. I mean, sort of.
Conan's
but I don't see Conan as much as a comedian.
Well, he's not a stand-up. but he's funny.
But in general, because I know him more as a host of a very popular kind of a talk show, right?
Yeah.
So I have done his show several times, but they're not as a stand-up comedy and all this.
Right.
But I mean, we have all known each other on a personal level.
Yeah.
And have had a lot of fun together on the personal.
Oh, yeah.
And then you, of course, you guys came to the White House. We're doing the Hans and Franz street. Because we had this great American workout, which was kind of like a copy of what Kennedy used to do in the White House. Because all the other presidents never really capitalized on this idea of President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports, right? Created under Eisenhower. But then Kennedy made it kind of
the
become
50-mile
a reality.
walk.
I did that in school. It was when I was in sixth grade. It was like 50 push-ups, pull-ups. You did all that.
That's
it made
right.
you stay in
you
shape.
got a medal when you could do certain things. And so what happened is that we had now the event, the Great American Workout at the South Lawn of the White House.
Yes.
But you don't just want to make it a fitness event, right? And make it boring. So we wanted to make it hip. So I asked them, Hans and Franz had to come to the White House and entertain the people and the kids and everybody. And they made everyone laugh and howl. And it was just huge. And it got us also, because of them, great ratings.
Yeah, good press.
And so all the press was there. And, they were like the big shots from Saturday Night Live. And Hans and Franz still looking for, Uncle Arnold. And, all of
and we walked around and just berated everyone.
Around, exactly.
Don't undo your belt, you might cause a avalanche.
Yeah, and then flip everyone through the air to land in their own baby poop.
That was was one of the best. That and your buttocks are like marshmallows. You're lucky I don't have a campfire here.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're threatening to burn someone.
Hans and Franz was so funny. It was so great when you did it. You didn't host, right? You just came on.
I was on SNL. I was a guest. He invited me to come to the show and to be a guest there. And with Danny DeVito. One time I was there with Danny DeVito.
Yes, and Danny was the pit bull.
With twins.
Yeah, and he was like, trying to attack the audience. You were holding him back.
Right.
But we didn't know how you were going to react. We started doing it, and we heard, Arnold's coming. And then they said, Arnold's waiting down the hall. This is in 8H in New York. Yeah. So Kevin and I are a little nervous. We went in, and you're in some chair, and you lean back, and you go, how do I do the accent again, fellas?
Right.
So then we knew you loved it.
Well, no, but to me it was heaven, because you have to understand that when I first wanted to get into acting, one of the first things they said was, it won't work. No one in America has ever made it that had an accent. No one could be a leading man or anything like
tough,
this. It says it's very tough to do. People want to hear someone talk like John Wayne, like Clint Eastwood, or Al Pacino. This were the guys, So anyway, so then I realized that I had to kind of make the accent actually something, not to hide it, but to actually make something of it. But then out of nowhere, without me controlling it, they came along and they legitimized it, because now there was someone that actually took that subject of accent and had a good time with it. Not to make fun of it, but to actually entertain people with it and to do it overboard. And so all of a sudden, from that point on, it became much more accepted, the whole thing, and it really became much easier for me.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And it's also comedy, and you doing a lot of action. It's good. Now you're involved in comedy. It's just one more thing in the comedy field that people think of you, and then it's funny.
And it's also you were in on the joke. You were inside the tent.
No, I loved it.
We're all having fun.
I always had a good sense of humor. And he always was the first one to be able to make fun of myself and of my situation, the body, coming from Germany, all of this kind of stuff, the German accent.
The flabby little puny arms.
Exactly,
and the little girly man, which girly man was, to me, was just like, gym talk. Like, your little puny arms, you look like a girly man. Yeah. And then when you became governor, sometimes you would use that to describe the legislatures, right?
Yeah.
You would use some of it, a bunch of girly men?
Exactly. So I would go on and say, that we should sign this bill. But, there's the legislators up there in Sacramento. There's such girly men. They're afraid to do the hard work and all this stuff. And they were really offended by the whole thing. So I actually stopped it, because I said, I want to work with those guys. I didn't mean it in a negative way. I just wanted to actually... I didn't want to insult them. I actually wanted to just entertain the crowd.
Right.
I was out in the shopping mall, and I was like saying to the people, I said, be with me, like vote for those initiatives that are coming up in November. I said, I have to take it directly to you, the initiatives, because this girly man in Sacramento wouldn't go for it. And they were laughing, that day when I went back to Sacramento. How could you call us girly man? This is not fair. For you to do. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't want to offend you.
Yeah, to me, it was just silly. The New York Times called me and tried to get me to explain what it meant. And to me, it was just two guys lifting weights in a gym teasing each other. Yeah. There was no homophobic undertones
at all. No, not at all. But
today,
you have to be so careful when you say all this stuff.
Yeah, if you say baby man, your little baby, and then they're like, why is that against babies? And
exactly.
Yes, as a baby man.
But what I like is we were saying, you as a politician are one of the few that you were putting humor in, and it does make people listen.
Yeah, exactly.
You did it before
so
Trump.
Boring.
Yeah.
You had nicknames for foes and stuff.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
You came out of the box as a breath of fresh air in California, like the anti-politician, telling it like it is. I remember your first debate, I think, was they tax us when we go to the bathroom in the morning. They tax us when we're driving our cars. Yeah. They tax, and it was such a compelling...
When you have a cup of coffee, they tax us when you go to the gas station. Yeah, tax, morning, noon, and night. Taxing.
But that made you stand out. But anyway, so your book, I read it.
It's called, you don't know this, but it's called Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life.
Yes. Your Ghostwriter.
I'm going to read you one chapter. No,
by the way, this is true. Chapter 1. Oh, you have the book.
Oh, fuck yeah, I do. I got questions. I got books.
My brother and I've got 3 older brothers. We have this thing that we used to say for
all
years.
Registered girly men.
We would always say, what would Arnold do when we're up against any kind of challenge or something negative? I'm not kidding. What would Arnold do? Because I noticed now I'm just because I'm with you, I'm talking with a slight Austrian accent the whole time. But I'm always thinking, what would Arnold do in this situation? Which would always be positive. Always. So I'm not surprised at all you wrote this book.
Book is a lot about positivity, pretty much overall.
Yeah, it's about how can anybody, no matter who you are and where you are in the world, be more successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And because there's just certain things that hold us back, and it's simple things sometimes, like the fear of failure, or picking little goals rather than big goals, and whatever it is, or listening to the naysayers, whatever it may be. I'm trying to go through this in this book and to just tell people, here there's 7 rules. I could put 15 rules in there, but since the publisher said that they should have no more than 260 pages, so we made it, we kept it in that kind of a framework. But in any case, it's basically just simple rules and tools that will help people to become more successful and more free and more able to kind of like go and expand and follow their dreams. And how do you create a dream for yourself? How do you create a vision for yourself? And all that. So that's what I get into in the book.
I think lately there's sort of a victim card being played too much, and it's nice to have refreshing old school. There's a chapter, Work Your Ass Off. It's just very basic, but it's not what people say out there as much anymore.
Yeah, but I talk about exactly what I did. When I came over to this country, I was into working.
Mm-hmm.
I was not shying away from working. I was always saying, I'm willing to work, even though I was Mr. Universe several times over, and Mr. World
7,
and Mr. Olympia 7 times.
Jesus.
Not at that point. In the early 70s, I was like 5 times Mr. Universe, Mr. World, Mr. International, and 2 times Mr. Olympia. So now
there was nowhere to go.
You're already at the top of your game.
It was kind of like in bodybuilding, there was no money. We didn't make any money.
It's like Miss America.
Right.
So it was like one of those crazy things. We had to make a living. So, I started a mail order business to kind of like sell booklets on how to train your biceps and your chest and all of those kind of things.
So with 20 steps to do that.
That's right. So, but the thing is still, we need to let's go out and work. So my friend Franco Colombo, the bodybuilding champion.
Remember him very well and loved you and him together.
That's right, yeah.
So
he was a bricklayer, professional masonry worker.
Mm-hmm.
Learned it in Italy, in Sardinia, then continued working in Germany. That's where I met him. And so when he came over here and we kind of always trained together, I said to Franco, Franco, you're a masonry worker, you're a bricklayer. Why don't we start a bricklaying business?
Mm-hmm.
I said, in America, they love this European bullshit. I said, so we call it as an Italian masonry expert.
Yeah.
And we put a little ad in the LA Times. Well, the next day, after we put this ad in, beyond our knowledge, an earthquake happened.
Expectation.
So the earthquake happened. It's 1971.
So then business explodes.
So all of a sudden now the chimneys fall down, the patios, the walls,
everything.
And you had nothing to do with it?
So now we started getting it's funny. Nothing to do with it. but anyway, the next thing I know is we get all these phone calls. Can you come out and give me an estimate how to rebuild my chimney and how to rebuild my fireplace, how to do my patio. I have a huge crack going through the whole patio and we cannot continue like that, blah, blah, blah. So Frank and I started going out and doing estimates. And of course, we were not really experienced in all this stuff. Sure. So we just started, measuring the stuff. And then we had always arguments about, I was always kind of like the good guy. He was the bad Italian who always charges too much. And then I would say, this is outrageous, Frankie. You cannot charge $7,600 for this stuff. We can do it cheaper than that. No. And it would be, then we started in German and in Italian. We started arguing. No one understood what we were saying. And we were just imagining. I said to the guy, I wouldn't say to the customer, I said, well, I got him down now finally. So we can do it for $5,000. And they said, thank you so much. And they hugged me. Yeah. And then we did the job. And all this.
How do you teach street smarts like that? One is the Italian name in the paper and then the collapsing. But then this whole song and dance, that's just like street smarts. Or what would you call that IQ?
Well, but remember that when I was in school, I was an apprentice in selling.
Oh, so
so when I was 15 years old, instead of going to go on to a university career or anything like this, I learned to be a salesperson. And so I was kind of an apprentice for 3 years, and I learned how to sell. Yeah. So sell. This is, and I have one of the chapters in the book that is in there because I realized of how important selling is. So the art of selling was, in this case, was when I go to a customer and he says, can you tell me how much it costs to redo this chimney? It sounds better if you go like you do in the store, 50% off.
Yes, no matter what.
But first they add the 50% and then they give you 50% off. So so my idea was, I said, I measured it out and I said to Frank, I said, I think it would cost us by the time we buy the material, which will be $2,000. Our workmanship, it would take us a week to do this, $1,500 each is $3,000. So that's $5,000. So then Frank said, yeah, $5,000, we can do it. So then I would go to the guy and says, he wants $7,800. And the guy would freak out and say, oh my God, I don't know if I can afford this. This is like outrageous. I said, well, let me work on it. And so I would go to Frank, and then all of a sudden we would have this screaming match in the corner.
Oh, this is outrageous. Big show.
Das ist zu teuer. Das ist hier überhaupt nicht so viel Arbeit. Blah, 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 blah. And then in Italian and all of this stuff. And then the next thing is I go back to the guy and says, I brought him down to $5,000. The guy said, oh, thank God. Oh. And they will hug me and then we get the job, So it's about, so we gave them a good deal, but we also kind of sold the idea that they got a special deal.
Did you do physical work or just sort of?
No. I was the guy that was mixing the cement and the sand and the water. Skill. So I picked up the mixer at the construction place where you rent construction equipment, and I picked it up with my car. They put it on in the back. And I just took it to the construction site.
You just used blenders to save money?
And I just, exactly.
Did they notice how pumped up you guys were? Did they comment on it?
What you comment on the song, on the Speedos?
And what did you say?
We said we found the bodybuilders. Bodybuilders. And they said, but why we really didn't want to say that we have to work for a living. We just said, look, we have two choices. One of the things is, I lost one of the Mr. Universe contests because I didn't have enough of a tan.
So that's why you're out there?
I said, which was in Florida, which is really true. One of the reasons was I didn't have a tan. The other one was I was a little bit too chubby. I didn't know I wasn't cut enough.
Like
exactly.
4% body fat.
Right, So anyway, I said, I lost my bodybuilding competition because I didn't have enough of a tan. Yeah. I said, that will never, ever happen again.
Right.
I said, so now not only am I training every day on Muscle Beach down there in Venice Beach, on the weightlifting platform. I said, but I want to work out here. We rip off the shirt and we work outside because then you get the natural tan all over the place. You get brown. I said, and that this way how we can win. So this is why we work a few hours every day in the sun.
Right.
You give
so
that long
this was one of the rap. I said, and he happens to be a bricklayer, an outstanding bricklayer from Italy. He did all the special masonry work. He even worked in the Vatican.
And the work was good.
Yeah, basically built the Vatican.
So I don't want to jump ahead here, but then is the biggest selling point you did, and how did you apply this to selling yourself to Hollywood?
Yeah, Hollywood.
Not wanting to play the second or third lead, but starting at movie star.
Yeah, did you not do any
Small
what
parts?
most people do is small part, or you
Yeah,
went right to Conan?
No, I did, but my goal was to be a leading man.
Yeah.
So I remember, for instance, Lucille Ball would call me.
Jeez.
And say I was at Gold's Gym working out, and she saw me on the Merv Griffin show.
Arnold.
And she said, she called me.
Arnold, this is Lucy
exactly,
Ball.
that's right,
It's
yeah.
got a little bit of smoking,
That's right.
I met her.
And so she says, I saw you on the Merv Griffin show. I want you to come in and read for this part, Joe Sandow, which is a masseur from Italy. There's an Italian accent, but most people don't know the difference between a German accent and an Italian accent, blah, blah, blah. Come on in and read. And so I would go in there and I would say, oh my God, there's a TV show with Art Carney, Lucille Ball.
It's huge.
Art Carney just won the Academy Awards and all that stuff. So this was like really big. So I went in there and she opened up the script and said, read this part. But I had no idea what that means. So so she says, well, I need to come in and my back hurts, and she says, how do you know how to massage? And I said, my name is Joe Sandow, and I am from Italy. I'm a truck driver from Italy, and in Italy, every truck driver also does massages. And she says, oh wait.
Yeah, you went to my acting.
She says, let's go and take the script away.
Yeah, no script.
She says the idea of it is this, blah, blah. So she explained to me the idea, and then she asked me some questions.
Right.
And then I would just say, I say, I'm from Italy, I'm a truck driver, and my name is Joe Sandow. And of course, in Italy, everyone does massages. And then she was like laughing, and everyone else was laughing.
Right.
And then she says, you see, guys, I told you he will be good. I mean, he's not used to the script idea and the reading idea, but I mean, by the time we shoot this next Friday, he will be perfect. I promise you guys that. And are you here ready to be here every day for rehearsal? And I didn't even know what rehearsal meant.
Oh, God.
But in any case, the bottom line, I said, yeah, whatever you want me to do, I do. And so I came every day. I worked with her every day. She was very patient. And we shot then on Friday. And she kept saying, and you need to project more. You need to project more because we're shooting live. So I had no idea what live meant. I had no idea what that meant. So anyway, we rehearsed, and then we shot this scene that I'm ringing the doorbell. The green light lights up at the door. And I open up the door. She opens up the door. And she says, you are the masseur? And I say, yeah, I'm the masseur. She says, come on in. And so I go in there, and all of a sudden, huge applause.
Oh, my God. You don't know that there's people
So now
there.
I'm standing with my massage table, and I'm looking out like this, staring out. I'm in shock. I'm frozen.
First time
I'm
heard
frozen.
Like
so this is not what the scene's supposed to be frozen.
Right.
To come in there and to be like this Italian flamboyant guy that opens up the massage table professionally, chuck, boom, flips it open and says, lie down.
Now you're just
So I'm now standing there like this, totally frozen. And then she says, what, are they massaging me? Get the table set up. So she immediately saw what was happening. Oh, yeah, totally. And then so I said, oh, yeah, exactly. And the applause continued. So I flipped the table over. And now, of course, I only had the tank top on. So I had like the big guns hanging out and the whole thing.
Did you get applause
but anyway,
for the guns?
it was fantastic, the whole thing. Art Carney came in the middle of the scene. The whole thing was like a 7-minute scene, and it played like a jewel. I remembered all my lines. She said it was fantastic. And then I tell you something. From that moment on, Lucille Ball, as long as she lived, she always wrote me a letter.
Hmm.
Every movie that I did after that.
Oh.
She saw me on streets of San Francisco to play a guest starring role, which I got after that 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
She saw Stay Hungry, when that came out with Barbara Raferson. That
Awesome.
he directed with Jeff Bridges and Sally Fields. She wrote me a letter. I'm so proud of you. Arnold, you're fantastic. I knew you had this potential. You're going to be a big star. I mean, what a sweetheart of a woman. As tough as she was.
Yeah.
Everyone knows she was one of the toughest women
Yeah.
in town. And Art Carney could tell you that because she kind of directed the show, even though she was not the director. And then Gary Morton, who was her husband, could also tell you how tough she was.
She ran the whole studio. I mean,
I did a pilot with Desi Arnaz Jr. called Whacked Out, and we're doing the pilot. Audience is there, and we're really bombing. I mean, it's silent. And all of a sudden, I hear a voice from the bleachers going, "What's wrong with you people?" So Lucille Ball had grabbed the microphone and was yelling at the audience, "This is funny." Then the whole audience flipped out, made a big line, and it took an hour and a half for everyone to get her autograph.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. You know, for her to take time to do that with you is pretty nice because she could have just said, tough reading, get out, next. But
absolutely
to work with you and to be that big of a star and get you going. And that was really probably one of the biggest things, even just confidence wise.
Yeah.
No, but I as much as people were negative about the idea of a muscle guy getting into movies, because they felt kind of the 60s, the era of the Hercules movies. Steve Reeves and Reg Park and Mark Forrest and Lou Degny and Gordon Mitchell and all those guys.
They're kind of bad movies or B movies.
They were they were not significant movies, but I mean,
Indies.
for me, big, because when I was 15 years old and I saw Steve Reeves and Reg Park on the screen, I said, "Oh my God, can you believe bodybuilders then become leading man in movies?"
It's a long shot, though.
So that was my motivation to get into bodybuilding. I said to myself, "Oh, then I can be an actor." So then I go to Hollywood. There's Muscle Beach and there's Hollywood. So you have your own fantasies as a kid with 15. So that was my fantasy. And I made my fantasy become a reality. And I talk about that in the book, how important it is that we have a vision and that we have a goal and that we have something to chase, no matter how stupid it may sound to other people. But just don't listen to the naysayers. Chase your dreams. And that's exactly what I did.
And that part of the book, don't listen. That seems like a lot of people, like I would get my feelings hurt a lot in the early days before I got on Saturday Night Live. If someone said I wasn't good or whatever, what are the mind tricks you played to get around that? Like they're saying, "You're terrible, you're nothing, this isn't going to make it, that's not good." And you twist it in your mind.
I didn't have to really twist much because I just saw my vision very clearly in front of me becoming eventually a Mr. Universe, for me eventually coming to America and eventually getting into movies. I saw that. And it was so believable that I had such faith in my vision that there was no one that could talk me out of it.
So they just didn't get it in your head. You're like,
I understood
doesn't
that when someone has never done something, that's like, Nelson Mandela always said, everything is always impossible until someone does it.
Yeah.
And this is exactly, there was no Austrian ever that became Mr. Universe. So when I say I want to be Mr. Universe, of course they laughed, because they thought, well, if he says he wants to be a ski champion, that makes sense. Yeah. But not to be a Mr. Universe or to be a weightlifter, something like this. Weightlifting was kind of dominated by the Russians. Bodybuilding was dominated by the Americans or by the British. So, I mean, what is he talking about?
So you beat the odds once in a big way, and now you're going to do it in an even bigger way to come all the way to America and know the language. Did you know the language at all when you got here? It took you a while.
No, I mean, there was a lot of subtle things, like I said, when Lucy Ball said, we're going to go and read, come over for a read. I did not know what that meant. I did not know when she said, we're going to shoot this live, that this means there will be a live audience and we will be live, the filming and not taping and stuff like that. So all of this stuff I did not know, but I learned the language quickly. I went to college. I remember I went to Santa Monica City College and took English classes and then eventually took business classes and all the stuff that I learned as an apprentice, selling, marketing, publicity, and accounting, mathematics, and all of this stuff, micro and microeconomics, and then eventually got a degree in that, which was also not something that I planned on doing. But I was like going part-time to college for 8 years. I mean, think about it. From 1969 to the 1977. It was like I just wanted to educate myself, and I didn't have a student visa, so I couldn't go full-time to college, so I had to always just take 2 classes. So sometimes even to cheat a little bit, I took 2 classes at Santa Monica City College, and then at night I would go with the UCLA and take some extension courses, and then sometimes I would take classes at West Los Angeles College and stuff like that. But eventually I got like almost 300 units of credits, and then they gave me a degree.
It's so easy to quit along the way. And this guy, there's so many hard obstacles that people just go, I can't do that.
8 years
take
of
2
college.
forget it.
I have the question. Did you, when you were thinking of your vision, Mr. Olympia, and when you envision yourself as a movie star, did you envision Conan the Barbarian? Did you ever envision Twins and Kindergarten Cop? It evolved?
No.
Conan the Barbarian. I mean,
what
using your
envisioned,
physicality.
John Wayne.
What I envisioned was just like Reg Park and Steve Reeves. I said to myself, maybe I can somehow use the muscles and get into movies. I did not know that there are eras.
Yeah.
That there was the 60s was the muscle era, where they made all these muscle movies and stuff that. That the 70s would be kind of like the opposite.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Woody Allen and Dustin Hoffman
Peter
and
Frampton,
Al Pacino,
the rock stars,
and all those
skinny,
guys exactly would be the stars.
Yeah.
And so that everyone said to me, he says, Arnold, those guys weigh 100 pounds less than you do. We can't put you in a movie with those guys. It doesn't work. So forget about it. So it was all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but eventually, I think that after they did Stay Hungry, and I played a bodybuilding champion in Stay Hungry in a movie, and I got the Golden Globe Awards for Best Acting Debut for that movie.
That's
so
huge.
that really helped me.
Did you improvise those lines though?
No, there was in Stay Hungry was all written, and
you were natural in that.
And well, thank you. And then Pumping Iron came out, and then that was a big hit.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden people started saying it was Pumping Iron actually that made Ed Pressman, who just passed away recently, famous producer, who saw me in Pumping Iron and then got the rights of the Conan. The
After
Conan
he saw
rights.
you, and then
exactly
he got the
for
You're
movies.
inching over to like more
right.
mainstream, and then you're going to get away from only strongman parts. Like when I moved here, I got a script the first time. I just read it to them. They handed me the script, and I just read it back to them, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know," because they go, "Come read." It was the same thing. I don't know sides, all the lingo I didn't know, and it was hard for me to get work. And I'm only this strong. So I know it was a little bit of a detriment.
Dave, did you find it tells you something about yourself? Like me in the early 80s, I go to audition, I walk in a room and I see baby face guys with weak chins and little arms.
Baby men.
They all look like me. I mean, you would walk in reading for something. Would you see a lot of other big guys waiting to read?
No, I never read again.
You never read?
Oh, that was it?
No, that
you
was
never
it.
auditioned?
Wow.
No, never.
What?
I knew that this auditioning, this is not my bag.
That's not my bag.
I'm going to tap out on auditioning.
But for some reason or the other, from that point on, they came to me, like Bob Rafelson came to me and said, I want you to do Stay Hungry, but you have to take acting classes. Yeah, I get you,
Sure.
with this guy, Eric Morris, who is an acting coach. He says he was working with Chuck Nicholson and blah, blah, blah. He says, I want you to take acting lessons, and then you will come in for a reading. So I was like working with this guy for 4 months.
So you weren't auditioning.
Before I got
Right.
Bob Rafelson did this as a joke in a way, and he had someone tape it. And I came in and I did the scenes for him, and but it was basically already signed for the movie, right? So it was not really that was in danger. But so anyway, I did the scenes, and he again was very, very complimentary. But this is the sweetness of people in this town that I noticed, kind of how supportive they can be.
Right.
Like Bob Rafelson immediately says, "Stop it." I said, "What?" He says, "Look at my hair. Look at my hair on my forearm." So I said, "Okay, I see you here in the forearm." He says, "It's standing up. Do you know this here in my forearm? When that stands up, it means that I totally bought in the scene." So what you just did, I totally bought in. It was so touching. It was so emotional. It was so well delivered. We don't even have to go any further. This is it. You have the part.
Wow.
And this is how it would be like that. And the same was with Jeff Bridges and with Sally Fields. They know I was a beginner on this whole thing. But, oh, man, they were so supportive when we did the scenes. Sally Fields was, like, extraordinary. And so was Jeff Bridges so supportive and everything.
Just take extra time.
I had really a good experience.
Yeah.
And then I think Landsberg, when he hired me for, the Jane Mansfield story with Lonnie Anderson, where I played Mickey Haggiday, because Jane Mansfield's husband was a Hungarian guy.
Right. So
so he was Mr. Universe. And so I played that character, basically. And so with an accent, the accent was perfect. Then eventually I got the Conan gig.
Yeah.
And it was a big international kind of a movie with Universal Studios.
How much of that did gross? Well? Like 200 million or something?
No, in those days there was no 200 million. But I mean, it grossed on, I think, $70 or $80 million.
That's huge.
Like 300 million.
It was like really, it was big. And it was #1 at the box office when it opened up. So everyone was really happy. And they signed me up for a second one. And that's when it was my first, with the second Conan, I made the first $1 million.
And how old were you when you first made that $1 million on the second Conan movie? About 30?
I must have been like 33 or 34 years old.
What did that mean to you coming from where you came from in Austria to get $1 million?
Well, my dream was, I said, I want to be like Clint Eastwood, because Clint Eastwood, Charles Bronson, and Marlon Brando were the only guys that were getting over $1 million a movie in the 70s, in the early 70s. So they were like the kings. So I said to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I get $1 million a movie? I always shot for the stars, always the big dream. And then eventually it happened. Wow. So I felt fantastic. Yeah. I felt delighted that I made $1 million and that I'm a millionaire. But I was already a millionaire before then, because I was insisting on making my money in real estate. Like, for instance, this building that we're sitting in right now, I built it in 1984. So in 1984, I bought it.
Before Conan?
At least it was, no, it was not before Conan, but it was before,
it was
before we went Terminator and all those things.
And where'd you get the money to buy the real estate?
Well, I was working on construction sites. I was doing exhibitions and all this, and I started saving money. And then there was an apartment building for sale in Santa Monica for $240,000. Now that's like the day, the $10 million. I don't know what. But in any case, it was $240,000. And I needed $37,000 down payment. I had in my bank account 27. So I went to Joe Weider, who was the publisher of the bodybuilding magazine. Exactly. And I said, can you go and loan me $10,000 for 1 year? And he said, absolutely. And so he would loan me the $10,000. I would put the $37,000 down, and I bought this building, this office building. 2 years later, someone comes to me and offers me now $500,000 for the same building. This is how much real estate went up in the 70s because of the high inflation rate.
Right.
So I now immediately sold this building, took that profit and traded up to a 12-unit apartment building. Then I sold that 2 years later and traded up to a 36-unit apartment building.
When's your book on how to become a millionaire?
And this is so I was like really very quickly in the 70s. I was already a millionaire.
Without giving away numbers, but I'm always fascinated. How much real estate did you end up buying? And was it all Southern California where you bought property, or did you buy it other places?
Well, also in other places. In Colorado, for instance, we bought a whole square block in Colorado, and then eventually there was a high-rise built on it. Yeah.
How much was the square block?
What's the square blocks going for?
It was not that, because we bought up pieces at the time.
Yeah.
And then eventually it was a square block. And then we were able to sell this to someone that wanted to build a high rise.
Right.
And then we were able to get cut in 10% of the high rise and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So anyway, so I always felt very comfortable with the real estate business. But at the same time, the rule is don't have all your irons in the same fire. So I was, investing in stocks and in bonds and all kinds of other kind of like startup businesses and so on. And so my investments always were very good. I never lost money on any investment as far as that goes. There was a huge, and listen to this, it was really funny because I bought the first money I got, I saved, I bought land out in the Antelope Valley. Why? Because I read somewhere when I came over to this country that they're going to build a supersonic airport out there. And so I said, I'm going to go without telling anyone. I'm going to sneak out there and I'm going to buy some property.
With a knife in your mouth.
Exactly. And so this is what I did. I bought for $5,000. I had only $1,000, so I had to pay off the $5,000. I bought this property out there. And then, of course, they never built the airport.
I thought the United States Air Force is out there.
No, but the Air Force is out there. I mean, the supersonic airport, they passed a law, an international law, that said no supersonic aircrafts can fly over land. So they're only over the ocean. So that killed the idea. And so they kept the LA airport here. So my investment went down the tube. So everyone was laughing about it. But here's what the thing. Joe Weider said to me, he says, Arnold, don't worry about it. This will be a good investment for your grandchildren. Yeah. Keep it. Forget about it.
Yeah.
I did. I totally forgot about it and I kept it. Today it's worth $1.5 million. Just to show you a $5,000 property. Right. So I didn't even lose money on that investment. Yeah. So this is just to show you that, if you really hold on to it, if you're not doing any fire sale.
For the rest of the podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
How to invest, Arnold? What would you do right now?
What was after the one you just said? Oh, Conan. What was the first sort of mainstream?
Conan 2. And then
what was...
that was kind of mainstream.
The funny thing was my dreams and my desires grew. And I'm sure it's the same with you.
Well,
First you want to do stand-up comedy, but then you say, wouldn't it be great if I do a TV show? Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if I do a movie? So it grows, you get more and more hungry. And so the same thing happened to me. So I said to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I could do movies that doesn't rely on muscles?
Right.
So what happened was Jim Cameron comes along.
Yeah.
And he says to me, with Mike Medavoy, and they say to me, he says, do you want to do this movie called Terminator? And I said, yeah. I said, that would be great. Can you send me the script? They said, sure. So he sent me the script and they said, it would be this character, Reese, which is the heroic character in the movie. And I said, that would be a really great role. And then for some reason or the other, when I met with Jim Cameron and we had lunch, I talked the entire lunch about Terminator. Jim, I said, I know you've not directed much, but I say, here's what is important when you direct this guy, whoever plays the Terminator. He says, well, the character that we hired for it is O.J. Simpson. He says, but the studio is kind of like negative about him because they think that he cannot sell the idea of being a killing machine.
Oh.
He says O.J. is not enough of a killer.
He's kind of nice.
He looks too soft for that. So
these are direct quotes.
So he says, then this is the truth. I mean, this is like unbelievable.
He's doing Hertz commercials.
And so they said, so this is not really set in stone. The whole thing is that, but after listening to you, Jim Cameron said, after listening to you talking to me about the Terminator, that he has to be trained to be like a machine, and he cannot walk like a human being, that he cannot talk like a human being. Says, you're absolutely correct. Your take on it is perfect. He says, why don't you play the Terminator? Yeah. And I said, no. I said, look, I want to play Reese. I want to be the hero, not the villain.
Yeah.
I'm set up in my mind. Well, the way I shoot it, Arnold, it would be like a hero and a villain. Hero because he does all these unbelievable things and wipes everyone out. Villain because he's a machine. But you don't have to be responsible personally because you're a machine. You're directed by some higher power, so it's not like you going around killing things. So I said to myself, let me think about it. And so for a few days I thought about it, and then I said to myself, he's actually right. If he shoots this the right way, this could be really cool. And then I called him back and I said, okay, I'm in. And so there was the first movie where we're throughout the whole movie.
Shirt didn't come off.
No, never.
Yeah.
It was like leather jacket, and the whole thing like that. And from then I got the offer to do, after Terminator, to do Commando. Yes. And after that to do Predator, Running Man. And it went on and on and on.
I think I've seen every one of your movies.
I was in. Yeah. I was accepted in Hollywood as the action hero.
Yes.
And it all came from Conan and from Terminator. So this was it was my launching pad.
And you God, you just had such a run at films.
Dana, I saw a copy of Terminator when you said, your catchphrases are very short, which is smart. I saw an early copy when you say, "Come with me if you want to live."
Yeah.
And it was, "Come with me if you want to live because I know all the shortcuts in town. We can go down the 710 and we can get in a carpool lane and the monster robot only can drive in the regular because he's one person." And I think it was better you tightened it because that seemed like a long
if you want to live.
catchphrase.
Yeah, you didn't want to be too wordy.
Yeah, it was too wordy. And so the final script, "Come with me if you want to live."
They cut all that out, and it was
There's
boom,
Hasta
boom,
La
boom.
Vista. There's you had a lot of good ones. Did you know at the time when you do those that these might be sort of cool little things to say?
No, you don't know.
Hasta La Vista,
we
baby.
never know what would hit
Sure.
and what people really like. I mean, you wish you can say that and say, "Oh, this was written this way," or "I improvised that." It's not. It wouldn't be true. The reality of it is, we had no idea that even "I'll be back" would be a line that would be the most repeated kind of line.
Yeah,
you know, anything. I was arguing with Jim Cameron endlessly about "I will be back." He says, "No, I wrote I'll be back." I'm gonna say "I will be back" because I don't like the "I'll." This L thing sounds a little weird. I said, I will be back. And he says, "Who the fuck wrote the script?"
Oh, yeah.
"Are you the script writer now?" "Or am I the script writer?" I say, "You're the script writer." And he says, "Okay, so we say, I'll be back. And if you want, we can shoot it 10 different ways. If that makes you feel comfortable," he says. "But so let's just do that. I'll be back, not I will be back. That's bullshit." And so I was arguing with him about
But you know
the
what's
line.
funny is
It was right.
And
robotically,
luckily he was so right, and he
rhythm.
made me
"I
say
will
it.
be back" sounds almost more robotic, and you were right.
Yeah, I
in
know,
that
but I mean,
respect.
it's so
But
he
it's better
just
the way
loved
he did,
"I'll be
yeah.
back," and so we did it 10 times, and when the movie came out, everyone wanted me to repeat that line, and so you don't know. We
never
had
know.
no idea this is going to happen. We had no idea that kind of like all the stuff, "Hasta La Vista, baby" in Terminator 2,
Right.
or "Get to the chopper" is stupid lines.
Get to the chopper.
It's just because the way I say it,
yeah.
because Germans cannot pronounce the R on the end. So
Right.
so everything's chopper.
What was his
So the
name?
tumor.
It's
This
not
is
a tumor.
Yeah, so when I say
That's a
tumor,
great one.
so when I say it's not a tumor, when we rehearsed for Kindergarten Cop,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the rehearsal with the kids, and I said, "It's not a tumor." All the kids started laughing, even though it was supposed to be an intense scene.
'Cause it just
so
sounded
then
funny.
Ivan Reitman looked and said, "This is funny."
Now we got a
They're all
joke.
laughing. He says, "Say it the same way. Don't change anything."
fucking fun.
So anyway, so those lines became kind of famous because the way I say it with my accent. And so if someone else would have said it, wouldn't have made
it's
anything.
musical. It's a musicality. "I will be back" has a different rhythm comedically. "I'll be back."
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
so intense. Didn't you do some where you would drop guys off, things for dropping by, and you drop them off a cliff? Those kinds of lines
And
too.
the guy says, "You promised to kill me last, Sally." I said, "Sally, remember I promised to kill you last?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "I lied."
Yeah,
And
there
then
you
it just
go.
dropped. So
Mr.
I
Freeze
lied.
had a couple.
Then everyone,
too.
all the kids started running around, and the parents were saying, he says, "You promised me that you're not going to get an F in school." He said, "I lied."
I like.
That's great.
So all the kids
You
were
have more
repeating that.
comedy hits than most comedians, to be honest.
But when
Yeah.
when we're talking about growing your vision,
Yeah.
like the last thing I ever thought about doing was doing comedies.
Yeah.
And but then when I was doing a bunch of movies, action movies, I said to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I could do a comedy? Because I felt I had a sense of humor. Yes, I agree that I didn't understand the American sense of humor as well. So that's why I asked my buddy Milton Berle to teach me about
Milton
comedy.
Berle?
Wow.
Yeah, Milton Berle, yeah. So he would write
He was
jokes
friends with
for me.
Lucille Ball as well.
Yeah, but he would write jokes for me all the time, Milton Berle. And so he always, called me fucking Nazi. I have to write these fucking jokes for this Nazi. God damn it, But he loved hanging out with me and smoking cigars with me.
Yeah.
Because of him, I really got into the cigar smoking, actually. But it was like, he was really, really funny. And he would then go and start writing stuff for me when I was doing speeches. And he would say, you can't go out there in a speech and start with a serious note.
Right.
So you got to go and say, first make the people like you. So say something funny.
Right.
Go out there and just say, What you probably wonder, what am I doing here at a medical convention in Vegas? But, the Dr. So-and-so came up to me and says, Arnold, I love you because you're a real good American and you believe in free speech, right? And I said, yeah, of course I believe in free speech. Good, because you're going to give one in Vegas on June 14th. So then the people laugh and they say, and then they like you. And now whatever you say, they will like you. I said, so that was Milton Berle's kind of a thing. So he would write little jokes and little lines for me for the beginning to get going with the speeches. Yeah.
Lucille Ball, Milton Berle, you got some good ones.
Yeah, do you remember with the movie we almost made? We wrote a script. It was called Hans and Franz, the Girly Man Dilemma that we were going to do with you. It didn't get made, but it was a funny script.
Well, I had that conversation just recently.
With Conan?
No, well, with Conan, yes, but I mean, we also internally had it because I said there are several scripts I said that were offered to me that I didn't do for whatever the reasons were.
Timing,
that they were dismissed or they were never made or I couldn't wait. Mm-hmm. They couldn't wait for me, so they hired someone else. Like The Rock. Yeah, the movie The Rock with
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery, exactly. And what's the actor's name again?
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage, exactly. Nicolas Cage. And so I was going to do that, but I mean, they couldn't wait for me because I was doing another movie first and all that stuff. So there were certain, but the one movie that I always loved, that I even would do today, is the script that we had together, where Hans and Franz finally comes to find the uncle, and they're now staying in his house.
Yes.
And I remember it was so funny.
Yes.
And I just remember when you came to me and you said, I have to go to the bathroom. Where's the bathroom? And I said, you go down the hall, and where you see the deltoid, you go left. Then you see a calf, you go right.
Big giant
and then you see, exactly. There was all these huge sculptures of my body all over the house. And this was the direction that I gave you guys. It was just so stupid and so fucking funny.
Oh, yeah. And you had a war room we went into where you had, it was a whole puzzle, like a Monopoly game, but studios, Paramount, 20, and you had you're pushing pieces around. Stallone is going to do a movie over 20th Century Fox. We countered Paramount with a comedy, Yeah,
exactly.
All of it was having fun with the image of Arnold Schwarzenegger at that time.
And what you guys did on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So it was, the idea was that they took the Saturday Night Live idea where you were searching for me and running into different kind of situations. But here you found me in this movie. Mm-hmm. And now it goes on from what do we do together. And so it was hilarious, the script. So, I mean, I think it still could be funny.
We read it on Conan's podcast, and it had a big reaction. People really liked it. It's from a different era in the sense that it's really big, funny, and silly, which I don't think they make enough of those movies.
You can modernize it.
Oh, yeah.
If you get a writer today, if you guys sit down and start reworking it, what works today, and to do it for Netflix, let's say, for that audience, I mean, imagine what a smash that would be.
A lot of physical comedy.
It would be laughing from here to eternity.
A lot of visual.
Come out at Christmas time or before Christmas. I mean, it would be fantastic.
I'm around. with you in a second, but it was just a funny script, and you were it was an hilarious part for you. But life is what it is.
Exactly.
You just keep moving on to the chapter at the end about just giving back, and then you're talking about Milton Berle helping you, Lucille Ball. And now you must find chances, or do young movie stars look you up or ask you or give advice? So you're a mentor of how to, I don't know.
Well,
is there anyone more successful? This will sound like I'm kissing your ass, but is there been anyone like you in the last 40, 50 years that come to America from another country, from extreme poverty, and do all these things? And then here you are now, still going. And doing
I don't know. I think that one of the people that I always admired a lot that came to America at the age of 15, I think, was Henry Kissinger.
Yeah, and he's still around.
And Henry Kissinger had an unbelievable career. Academic career and political career. And it was just a genius foreign policy kind of a guy. And all that stuff. So look, there's a lot of people, Elon Musk and people like that have come to this country. Remember,
Elon Musk would be
but one of the things, no matter who it is, no matter how many there are, one thing we know for sure, that there's no other country in the world where we could have done that. No other country. I mean, if I think about, and I'm pretty much aware of the world because I travel a lot and through bodybuilding and movie promotion, and when I was governor to do trade missions all over the world and all of that stuff. But there's just no place, and even today, a time when we have difficulty in America, where the parties don't get along and they can't get much done and all this stuff. Even during that time, when I travel around, I don't see anyone coming up to me and saying, "Oh, Arnold, can you help me get a visa to Jordan?" "Oh, Arnold, can you help me to get a visa to Russia?" Or "Can you help me to get to South Africa?" Or something like that. No. I mean, it's all about America. "Arnold, please help me. Can you write a letter for the immigration office? I want to get to America. I want to be in America." So this is the number one country, still by far. It's the most desirable place for people to come. It's the only place where someone like myself can come and make it big and make all his dreams become a reality.
And what are we doing right? Because we're pretty self-critical as a nation right now about America, but you have a perspective unique to people who are born here, tend to take it for granted. But what are we doing right so that people can come in and have a life like you've had in America?
But people can, and people do today.
It's just because the economic freedom?
I think it is the economic freedom. I think it is just that it has its downfalls and it has its big advantages. And the advantages are more than our disadvantages. And that's what makes us so great. Yes, we have problems and all that, but I mean, it's still, anyone can come still today to America and really become kind of very successful. I see it all the time in a smaller way even. I see people I see this one guy was coming from Israel to Gold's Gym. He was working out for a while. Then all of a sudden he was like a personal trainer. And the next thing I know, he's driving up with an Aston Martin and with the next day with a Jaguar. And the guy's getting $100 an hour. He works 15 hours a day. 15 hours a day. It's talking about working your ass off, right? What we talked about earlier. This guy believes in working. So he drives these fancy cars. He has nice girls around. He trains people there in the gym. He's doing exactly what he wants to do. He's from Israel. Just came over here a few years ago. And the same is with a French guy that does the same thing. I know this one girl that is from Sweden. She's a personal trainer and she's making a fortune here and all this. So this is unlike any other place, And so I think this is really the place to be, and where people can be successful. And I think America should be proud of that. And you're right. When you're an American, you take it for granted. When you're American, you sometimes don't appreciate how great this country really is. And the thing that everyone has to do is, and I talk about this in the last chapter, is this country was built by hardworking men and women that have sacrificed. That were not just looking forward to the glory, but sacrificed. And I think that today's kids have to study that history, because it will make them wake up and say, I cannot be this little girly man.
Well put. Because
and I cannot be this guy that is staying in bed. I want to sleep in. Or I want to feel good. Or I want to be treated kind of fairly and nice and stuff. No, this is a tough world. Get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and kick some serious ass. Go to work. Whatever you do, the day is 24 hours. You can do it. And this is how we make this country, not only great, but keep it the greatest country in the world, is by not babying ourselves and not by kind of like taking it easy and trying to sleep in and I want to feel better and all this kind of stuff, but to kind of do the same thing as they did in the old days. Work your butt off. And it's like Ted Turner always said, early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and advertise. This is where the action is, and I believe in that, but it's important to know that we got to grind it out, and we cannot just always look for the pleasures, but there's punishment, there's hardship, there's failure, there's tough times that you go through, but that's all okay. We got to go and have a clear vision, chase that vision, and then there will be struggles and all that stuff. The more struggles we have, the tougher we will get. And the more failures we have, the more we learn and the more successful we can get. I mean, remember what Michael Jordan said, I missed 5,000 shots. And I lost, 200 and some 80 games. But I became the greatest basketball player because of it. What I've learned. So it's don't be afraid of failure is one of the chapters that I have in the book. And so I think it's hard work, not being afraid of failure, to grind it out, to have a clear vision, not listen to the naysayers, pick big goals. So those are the kind of rules that I talk about in the book, because that's what we need to do in order to be successful as a person and as a country.
And I think that, it's in your book, but that you just have you in the end of the day. And sometimes don't look at social media too much and get tricked out that this person did nothing and is a millionaire. But what I found a few times, just being driven around the country to gigs, and I had to have first-generation immigrants driving me from Russia, wherever. This one Russian guy goes, I tried to open business in Russia, someone stop. I tried to hire more employees, they say stop. I come to America, I start to do the same thing, no one say stop. No one told him to stop. Who are you now? Almost every time. I own the business. I just like your comedy. I drive you, Mr. Carvey. But so that's the idea. Is it's nothing. I think the secret sauce of America, if you put the work in consistently and are willing to fail over and over again, there is some great stuff that will happen to you emotionally, mentally, and hopefully you will experience success. It won't stop you.
You're absolutely right, because no one has ever said to me, you can't. They will say, I think this is impossible, or there's their naysayers and they say no one has ever done it before, but no one said, I would not allow you to do that.
Yeah. Right.
There's no such thing.
You've already done 4 movies. It's your turn. Now you go back. Lou Ferrigno's going to do twins.
Exactly, There's no such thing. Yeah. So, so I have to always say that none of it that I accomplished would have been possible if I wouldn't have been in America.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, see this here?
Yeah.
See the
hairs on my arms. Actually, mine's here.
Yeah.
Those monstrous forearms of yours. Look at this, all pumped up. How do you do it?
I do a lot of push-ups. I just push-ups are my main thing if I can't get to the gym.
Yeah.
But I try to, I keep going.
Yeah.
I'm just got to stay
my
fit.
Excuse?
I always tell people you occupy a room, but you live here. So
That's
work on this. This is where you're living. You could occupy this, but
that's right.
You can't get away. No matter where you go, there you are.
Yeah, that's
Arnold.
This has been fascinating.
Total Recall line.
Total Recall.
Remember in Total Recall when I check in on the beginning that they say to me to sell this implant, they say, "What is always the same wherever you go? You.
There you are."
He says, "But here we Total Recall. We're going to help you with that. You can become kind of an agent, secret agent. You can have this wonderful woman. You can do this. You can conquer the blah, blah, blah." So this is the whole thing. The whole line is about that.
Do you have a favorite movie?
No, because it's like, it's like I love Twins with Danny DeVito, but at the same time I love, Terminator, and I love, Predator, True Lies. I mean, it's very hard to pick, one. There's some movies that were fun to make, like Kindergarten Cop, to work with those 20 kids. That was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But there's other movies that were really hard to make, like True Lies. We were shooting for 6 months in this movie, for winter scenes and summer scenes in the snow, in the cold, freezing cold. It was just torturous, and then 80 days night shooting and all that stuff. But it was a fun movie to watch.
Just for the fans that are listening, at the end of Predator, when you got rigged a log to kill or something. What did you say? What are you or something? I think it takes its helmet off. Or, you're ugly.
Is that when you have the mud all over?
You're one ugly motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah,
I knew
yeah.
it was a great line.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just almost to be dead. You're just covered in mud. You got this monster.
Yeah.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
Come, kill me, do it now, do it now. And then on the end I say, get to the chopper.
Hasta la vista, baby.
I had no idea that I would be walking around. I would go to the Arnold Classic, to the sports festival, people screaming out, "I'll get to the chopper." Yeah. All my lines they're screaming out. It's just hilarious to watch that.
I was at the Arnold Classic with you. We were backstage, and on the TV monitor were all the contestants out there doing their stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just looked at the monitor. I asked you, I said, is there anyone exceptional here? Oh. And you just leaned back with, you're looking at
me. Yeah, shit. Well,
David, what have you been up to?
Oh, thank you. Finally. Well, kind
all
of.
Right, we're going to take a quick break and come back with.
No, don't go to commercial now. No, I was going to say.
Doing a lot. You've got a game show on tomorrow.
Say hi to everyone. There's Maria, who's always a fun ball buster to me. There's Patrick, who's on the Boys spinoff, right? Patrick's doing great. Christopher, your daughters. I see all these people here and there. We did Grown Ups too. Patrick was in. And Christopher works on Tyson's podcast.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing great. Just hi to the family and thanks for coming down. And it's great to talk to you about this book.
But David is very, very busy.
What's that?
He's at what you were doing. He's doing a lot of stand-up.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing stand-up. I'm doing all the same, all
it's great, yeah.
Movies and things.
No, I'm crushing it. I'll send you a couple links.
Yeah. Those are not hand-me-downs.
No, these are right off the rack. Taylor. Yeah. Hand-me-downs from Dana.
He's like my little brother.
Let me ask you something. I mean,
sure.
I know that you're doing this podcast to interview me, but I find it interesting how both of you stay so lean.
Right.
Just give me a quick rundown. What makes you stay so lean? Are you disciplined with your eating, or you working out?
What I realized down the line at a certain point, my problem was more eating than working out more. So when I ate less or more, thought it out more, I would lose weight faster than working out too much. So it was cut out sugar, try to cut out some white flour, and then overall, it is like more of a lifestyle than just dieting or whatever. You really slowly have to start cutting stuff out when you get older, and you can't eat as badly, do as much, this and that. And I sleep probably 8 hours. Dana, what about you?
I ran track and field in high school, distance running and cross country. Then
you still do?
Yeah, you still run.
Yeah, I do run and I hike. I do all kinds of things. I love the burn. You say it's better than an orgasm. I love hard cardio. Sorry, that was
hard orgasms.
Oprah or something. It's better pumping up. It's like better. I remember that was funny.
Yeah, when you get the burn, when you kick into that, it's great.
I love to work really, really hard. I go up Griffith Park and I redline really, and then I started lifting weights, in my 30s, and then you and I have something in common. I had a bypass that the operation wasn't done correctly, but it didn't hurt me when I was 42. So, and now I'm a little older than that. But that also put me on a Mediterranean diet, basically. And so my wife and I just got all the junk out of the house. We keep all the junk out of the house. If it's not right there, I don't have it. And I weigh myself. I'm not neurotic about it, but I just keep track. It's like a report card for me. And I'm not trying to get too thin. I just try to stay around this weight because I feel lighter on my feet. Yeah.
It's hard.
I just think that it is so important that we stay lean, even though I'm not lean.
Well, you look great.
But I'm just telling you that I got to this age now where I admire people much more when they're lean than when they're bulked up.
Yeah.
Because I think lean is where the action is.
Yeah.
Because the body just the body just lives longer when you're lean.
Yeah.
I look at my dogs. The dogs that usually the bigger dogs, they wipe out with the age of 12, 13, 14. I have this little dog, Noodle. A little dog like this. He's like 14 and a half years old, runs around, jumps up on every bench, and just still attacks all the other dogs when they're nasty, just the teeth, has full of energy, but it's little.
Yeah.
So he's going to live for the next,
I'm more
10
like
years
Noodle,
probably.
I think.
It's just amazing.
No, I'm Noodle. And
no, but I'm just, yes, I'm comparing them. because it doesn't matter if
right,
you're an animal or if you're a human being. Being leaner and being lighter means longevity. Means that you're around a long time.
Okay. Yeah. Can I do 10 push-ups now and have you analyze just my form?
Just to start. We will both.
My form.
I will too.
You can do it.
Yeah, he's taking the mic with him.
Taking the mic out so I can talk.
Okay, let's see it.
Just doing 10. I'm not.
David, you want me to hold it?
Shake a little bit.
Do you want me to hold your?
No, I'll go down
butt?
toward it.
Okay.
So it depends where I want.
Here comes Dana. He's doing.
Basically. So I'm in the push-up position.
Looks a little girly man right now.
1,
shaking.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No pauses.
8.
Nailing it.
9, 10. Perfect.
Shit.
Perfect.
Get the oxygen.
It was fantastic. It was very, very strict. And what was good about it was that your body stayed absolutely flat.
Right.
You didn't
put the butt up.
Buckle in at the waistline like a lot of people do and stuff like that.
You got to keep your glutes on.
You just said like a board, straight, totally flat.
That's the greatest compliment.
Disciplined.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. And I do lat pulls. I do stuff for the back.
Yeah.
And mobility is all the rage now.
I think it's great.
Hip mobility.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good job.
Anyway, good to see you guys.
Good luck with the book. It's great.
Thank you for your help
Appreciate
with the book and all that stuff. I really appreciate that.
The book is great.
And we will stay in touch.
Yeah, of course. Always fun to see you, buddy.
We will work together again.
That would be great.
And something.
Let's do something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks.
Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13, executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13.